Good evening and welcome to the Modise Network. Tonight, student organizations DASO, SASCO, and the EFF Student Command join me on the couch as we reflect on the historic Fees Must Fall marches, unpack the youth perspective on current day economics, and explore the realities of what it means to be young in South Africa today. Later on, the man who took the world by storm as he completed the recent Comrades Marathon on crutches, Xolani Lufuno, joins the network to share his incredible story of determination. I'm Time Modise, and thank you for joining me this evening. South Africa is a youthful population, with those below the age 35 making up around 65% of the 55 million population. The majority of this number would be of school-going age, and those who are no longer in school are excluded from economic opportunities. The youth also make up the majority of unemployed people and face a very unpredictable and fast-changing world. And tonight we ask, how are South African youths coping with the challenges? How are they making contributions to the development of the country? And how are they shaping the future? My guests are the former Wits Democratic Alliance Student Organization Chairperson, Yanga Damani. Yanga, welcome.
Thank you.
And the South African Students Congress, Gauteng Secretary Butanani Ngwani, and welcome, Butanani, as well as the Economic Freedom Fighter Student Command President Peter Khetze, welcome. Now, I want to know from you, what is it that you are proud about, that makes you a proud South African? Let me work from this side, from the left wing. Okay, all right, from this side, from you, Peter.
Well, of course, we are the leftist wing, absolutely one of the only leftist organization. But look, I think since it's June, and we must, categorically state that we must commemorate the youth of 1976 and, grabbing some inspiration from what they have achieved and, their political willingness and the courage to take on the state that was then brutal. And, you'd remember they had unleashed a lot of machinery, state machinery on young people. And by then, all the political formations were banned. So the young people then, they had identified the struggle, they mobilized, and they made sure that they achieved it. Even this generation, we must not forget what happened in 2015 when we saw the wrath of students, taking it to the street to say, no, but we have been rhetoricing about this question of free education. We have been, dilly-dallying around without being clear in terms of what needs to happen. And then this generation of young people, they took it to the streets. And I can tell you now, this generation shall be remembered by many other generations to come.
So that's what makes you proud about South Africa today?
Well, that's sure. A bit, yes.
Well, Butanani?
Yes, thank Uncle. No, but look, one, we must say that one must be, of course, be proud of being a South African. And well, we are a country that is developing. Of course, we appreciate that we are lacking there and there. But we're a country that comes from colonization of 300 and plus years. For the 20-something years that the ANC and our government has been running, we can say we are fairly doing well, fairly. So we are actually asking them to pass the baton to the young people. I think the time for young people to take over and deliver the country into a better state. I mean, there are things to be proud of. The initiatives that are started to assist young people in terms of job opportunities, in terms of developing. Because if we don't develop the youth, and then
Sure.
the country would obviously
We will
suffer.
deal with some of the questions or the challenges. For now, still staying with the whole question of being proudly South African. Yingana.
Thanks a lot, Uncle Tim. One thing that obviously makes me proud today to be a South African is the diversity, people from different walks of life, different experiences coming together and working towards building a beautiful South Africa that we can all be proud of. And obviously having a conversation. Sometimes these conversations, we must all admit, they are very uncomfortable. However, because of our past, we must have these conversations. And if there is to be any progress, this conversation must take place, and that's the initial point. Equally, we must also put it out there that what makes me proud in this month of June, since it's a youth month, it's the commitment that young people across board doing everything they could to develop themselves and capacitating themselves of taking over one day and leading this country.
Okay, now I'm going to move things a little bit. Let's talk about what is disappointing you about modern day South Africa. If you asked me, I would have told you something completely different, right? That this, that, and I know it will come up later on. The three key things that are disappointing to you about South Africa today, what are those?
Look,
I'm taking notes now.
thank you. We must take them very clearly.
Yeah.
Number one, I think South Africa, particularly as young people, as the president of Student Command, sitting here as a leader of the PYA and a leader of DASO, we must sit together and challenge this femicide that has been unleashed on our women in this society. I mean, I can't be proud of a South African where each and every day there is a constant report of raped women, killed women, and all that. So we ought to come together as young people and decisively deal with these kind of challenges that are really affecting our society. The other thing that I wouldn't really be proud of this country, just because I'm coming from South Africa. I mean, it was recorded that South Africa have recorded the highest percentage of unemployment, one of the highest percentage in the whole world, right? In the last quarter of 2017, it was close that it was stated that 26.7 percentages of unemployed South African. That is excluding those who are no longer looking for jobs.
And what's the third point?
Well, obviously the third point that I am quite disappointed in, but obviously we will work towards it. It is the youth participation in politics, because it becomes a challenge when you are 65% of the population, but you do not want to participate fully in a democratic process.
I got it. And Butanani, you can add, you can subtract, and you can do whatever. Give me your three.
No, well, one for me, noting that it's a youth month, it's the high levels of unemployment. Two, it's the political will by the leadership to provide a fully subsidized, free quality education, and such that you still have students that participated in 2015 who are still behind bars. I mean, if we could forgive apartheid executors, why can't we release the students that are behind bars for a good cause? Yeah. And then also the high levels of crime. I mean, you don't know when your day is coming in South Africa. Every day you are working, you're expecting to be marked.
Sure. I got that. And Younger?
From my side, something which is very terrible in this country that doesn't usually make the newsroom is the state of basic education. The only time we hear about it is when we get results in January. For 2 weeks, it makes the headlines. However, the rest of the year, everything is all well and it's all good. Something that needs to be in the agenda throughout the year, which is the first thing. Secondly, is the state of health. The health department, it's very saddening to see the state of department, the state of that department. Obviously, it and education, they go a very long way. And it's sad to hear people saying that department is close to collapsing. And yet we are one of the most capacitated countries in Africa. However, our health department is in that state. And thirdly and lastly, when we discuss the issues of higher education, it's very disappointing to always hear people mentioning what I would say the traditional universities. However, we have two sectors, actually not sectors, one sector which is the TVETs. In most cases, the TVETs are supposed to be a top agenda in the country. However, they are very ignored. One. The second part of the sector in higher education, the previous universities which exist in what we used to call in the day the homelands, your UNITRAs, Univendors, your Forte. The state of those universities, it's in shambles. Yet they have produced the black intelligence in the country today. One, I would even say the past 7 weeks, UNITRA, if I'm not mistaken, now which is called Walter Sisulu, it has been closed because they've been on strike. That issue, as much as it is affecting our future doctors, our future lawyers, it was not treated as a crisis.
Okay, when I come back in a moment, I wanted to go into this question of where you stand as an organization, but I can give you feedback, right? Let me give you feedback. We've isolated 8 issues now, and I'm going to give you homework, and I'm giving you a couple of minutes to think about it. You have identified femicide, you have identified unemployment, you have identified political engagement, education, that it should be free and good quality education, concern about crime and safety. You've spoken about the quality of basic education and the state of healthcare in the country, and skills development and training through the vocational schools, as well as the quality of education in the previously or historically disadvantaged universities. So, as I promised you, I took the notes. These are your issues, and we are going to explore them in a short time. After the break, we will be continuing our conversation with student organizations, DASO, SASCO, and EFF. Make sure to keep engaging with us by using the hashtag Modise Network.